the US government just made a phone call that could change artificial intelligence forever. Seriously, picture this. You've just built the absolute smartest piece of technology in human history. You're literally hovering your finger over the launch button, ready to push it out to millions of phones and laptops, and then Washington rings. And OpenAI, they had absolutely no choice but to listen. We're talking about a sudden, sweeping directive straight from the White House that slammed the brakes on the massively hyped release of GPT 5.6. And you know what the craziest part of all this is? Hardly anyone in the public even noticed it happening. Welcome back to News with Gray Hair, where we make AI news simple. In today's Explainer, we're breaking down exactly how the government just quietly hijacked ChatGPT.
All right, so Section 1. What happened? The GPT 5.6 holdup. Let's stick to the plain facts from the latest reports here. OpenAI was gearing up to drop the GPT 5.6 series. This is a massive, absolute game changer of an upgrade to the AI you're probably using every single day for homework or, writing code or just bouncing ideas around. They even built different versions. There was a fast, cheap one called Luna, a mid-range one called Terra, and the big flagship genius model called Sol. It was locked, loaded, ready to ship. But instead of that huge public launch, the administration stepped in. The White House essentially asked OpenAI to hold back the release for a very exclusive VIP list of government-approved partners. Yeah, a US-only preview where federal officials approve customer access one by one, while you and I are literally stuck outside looking in. This all went down unbelievably fast. It traces back to a brand new executive order that got signed on June 2nd. This order basically hands the government a 30-day window to test drive what they're calling frontier AI models before the general public is ever allowed to touch them. And by June 26th, OpenAI was already officially restricting GPT 5.6 just to comply with this new reality. Now here's the crucial part. CEO Sam Altman actually agreed to this. In a leaked internal memo to his staff, he admitted, hey, this wasn't exactly their preferred way to roll out a product, but they're playing ball. Why? Well, OpenAI is burning through billions of dollars in computing costs, and they're reportedly gearing up for a massive IPO, a public stock listing, that could value them at $1 trillion. Let's be real, you just don't pick a fight with the federal government when you have $1 trillion on the line. So as a result, the most anticipated AI on the planet is currently just sitting there, stuck in a federal waiting room.
Which brings us to Section 2, why it matters. Your access denied.
You might be sitting there thinking, okay, so some massive corporate giant has to deal with bureaucratic red tape. Why do I care? Well, because this directly impacts your digital life. Look, the government is absolutely terrified right now. They're worried that these new models are so incredibly smart that they could act as a master key for cybercriminals. During testing, researchers found that some of these frontier AI models are insanely good at finding software vulnerabilities. Flaws in the code that literally runs our banks, our hospitals, our power grids. If a hacker gets their hands on an AI that can automatically spot weaknesses and then write the code to exploit them, that is a massive national security threat. Because of that totally real fear, the absolute frontier of human knowledge is suddenly being gatekept. Government agencies like the AI Safety Institute are now vetting these tech tools entirely behind closed doors. They're literally running these AIs through virtual capture-the-flag hacker games to see if the AI can break into systems autonomously. And if the AI is a little too good at hacking, the government steps in to act as the bouncer at the club of the future. So it forces us to ask a really, really tough question. Should politicians be the ones deciding if you are cleared to use the best technology? Should the government treat your ultimate coding and creativity assistant like a literal weapon? Because right now, your access to the smartest AI ever built has officially been classified as a national security issue.
Okay, get ready for Section 3, the twist. 90 minutes to comply.
If you thought OpenAI got pushed around with a polite phone call, oh man, you haven't seen anything yet. The shocking truth is that OpenAI actually got the VIP white glove treatment compared to their biggest rival. See, just 2 weeks before the whole OpenAI drama, a major competitor named Anthropic launched their new Mythos model. But then, an Amazon researcher tipped off the government that there was a security flaw, basically a jailbreak, in the AI. And the administration didn't just casually ask Anthropic to slow down. No way. They hit them with an incredibly aggressive export control directive. The government literally ordered Anthropic to completely shut down their AI. They used trade laws that were originally designed for weapons and military hardware to bar all foreign nationals from touching the model. They even locked out Anthropic's own non-citizen employees from working on the tech they built themselves. The legal net was cast so wide and honestly was so confusing that Anthropic had absolutely no choice but to completely pull the plug and shut the models off for everyone globally. And here's the absolute most dramatic part of this entire story. Anthropic was giving a mere 90 minutes to comply. 90 minutes. Just imagine building a multi-billion-dollar piece of software that's being accessed all over the world, and the government hands you an hour and a half to completely shut down your systems. Boom, lights out.
What we're witnessing right now is the government rewriting the rulebook in real time. They are weaponizing traditional trade laws to control a technology that lives entirely in the cloud. The AI code never physically leaves the United States, but because anyone in the world can access it via an app, the government is treating that access as a dangerous export. They are deciding exactly who gets to touch the future, essentially turning tech companies into de facto gatekeepers of national security.
Which leaves us with the ultimate question. Does the government have the right to slow down AI? Should they be allowed to pull the plug in 90 minutes or decide that you aren't on the VIP list for the next ChatGPT upgrade? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I seriously want to hear from you on this one. And if you want your AI news made simple, trustworthy, and fast, make sure you subscribe to News with Gray Hair for weekly explainers, no PhD required. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.